So here's a short story which backs up that if you find out that your significant other, wife, girlfriend, fiance, whatever, cheat on you, best to part ways and move on. Because otherwise, A, she's going to do it again, or B, you never got the full story, which would then make you certainly want to end it with her. Titled, My wife, a 32-year-old female, cheated on me 2 years ago, and I forgave her after she signed a postnup. But now I found out she didn't give me the full story, and I'm strongly considering divorcing again. With the benefit of the prenup, how can I learn to trust her again? He says, my wife, Ella, 32, and I have been together for 7 years, married for 5. 2 years ago, she admitted to cheating on me with a coworker. Oh, gee, that's not a cliche. I'd always believed that cheating was a red line for me, and I was initially determined to divorce her. However, she did the work to regain my trust, or so I believed at the time. I also factored in the following, which allowed me to eventually move past it and forgive her. So listen to all the things he did to give her a second chance. Initially, he was going to get rid of her, which he should have done. Number 1, she confessed to me voluntarily. She wasn't found out and forced to tell me. Number 2, it was the one time at a housewarming party with a coworker. I remember that night. She didn't return home till 4 o'clock in the morning, and I sent her several texts checking to see if she was okay and if she needed me to pick her up. She normally doesn't like to drink, but occasionally succumbs to peer pressure, so I was worried she might have too much to drink and drive. Succumb to peer pressure? Yeah, that's not exactly girlfriend or wife material, someone that can't stand up for oneself here. 3, she quit her job after confessing to me. This was her own choice to prove that she was prepared to hold herself to better boundaries. I actually discouraged her at the time because I was set on divorcing her and was concerned that her lack of job would mean I would have to pay higher alimony if she wasn't employed. There you go. And 4, when I was 19, I also cheated on my then girlfriend, not Ella, via drunken kiss. Obviously, it wasn't as bad as what Ella did, which was full on intercourse. But part of me felt like a hypocrite for not being able to forgive Ella because my college girlfriend had forgiven me. So there's a big difference between a drunken kiss, and I believe this guy's telling the truth, which is still cheating, but versus full-on rolling around in the hay many a times. And as we're about to find out, there was more than one rolling around the hay. Given the above and the fact that Ella generally seemed remorseful, everything else in our relationship was great, and she was the most compatible person I ever dated personality-wise. I decided to forgive Ella and not divorce her on the condition that she signed a postnup, and she enthusiastically agreed. Smack! Well, let's just see how this whole thing works out. Remember, guys, in the beginning, his initial gut feeling here is end it with her. That's what you do. This guy clearly never heard of a thing called trickle truth. And of course she's going to beg and plead and offer to do anything to repair things because she doesn't want to lose her meal ticket. So the postnup isn't overly harsh, in my opinion, aside from affirming that our premarital assets won't go into the settlement in the event of a divorce. It also included that an infidelity clause with the penalty of the cheater forfeiting our jointly owned home, the car, and alimony in the event of divorce. Whoa! The balance would be split 60-40 in favor of the cheated spouse rather than 50-50. We both had independent legal advice when this was drafted and signed. Okay, at least that was done. But still, all it takes is one judge to hear her waterworks and be like, nah, whoosh, toss it out. Fast forward to last month when I was contacted on Facebook by Alice. Oh, who's Alice? Alice is the wife of my wife's affair partner. She tracked me down by going through Ella's social media. She told me that she had caught her husband Bill cheating on her and discovered their affair from 2 years ago, and going through the electronic devices. She asked if I knew, to which I replied that I did, but I thanked her for telling me anyway. She asked what happened between Ella and me, and I told her that we had reconciled. She said she was determined to divorce Bill because, unlike my wife, Bill had proven to be a serial cheater and never confessed to her. Of course this guy's a serial cheater. Shocker. The part that has since changed my mind about forgiving Ella is the fact that she revealed that Bill and Ella had actually been having an affair for 5 months. Not one time at a housewarming party. 5 months. Let that sink in how much physical activity was going on, how much lying, how much manipulation, all that. That's why your gut was telling you to get rid of her. And she knew it. All the tears, all the waterworks, I swear it's the truth. I clarified as she meant an emotional affair, but she clarified no, it was a physical affair, and they had hooked up over 10 times. I guarantee it was more than 10 times. In my mind, this makes the affair so much worse. It wasn't just a drunken night, it was a long period of planned and deliberate choices, and I feel like an absolute fool. Well, sir, I can't lie and say you weren't being a fool. But doesn't mean you can't take action now. So this past weekend, I confronted Ella, and she admitted it. I asked why she didn't tell me the full truth, and she said she didn't believe I would have forgiven her if I had known. Of course she didn't get the full truth. No guy ever gets the full truth. She's been trying to convince me that it's in the past, we made 2 years of progress since, and it doesn't matter whether it was 1 time or 10 times. That even makes it worse, the way she's just sweeping it under the rug. I've been on my best behavior. How do you know? How do you know she's just not better covering her tracks now? She argues that her confession showed true remorse. She's actually arguing, really? But my current thoughts is that the admission shows that even in her confession, her main concern is protecting herself rather than respecting me as a spouse, by giving me the agency to make a fully informed choice. Not that different from never telling me in the first place. I'm now strongly considering divorce again and relying on the prenup for a more favorable divorce settlement. She wants us to go back to the couples therapy, but how would it even work now that I trust her even less than I did 2 years ago? Now, he also adds more comments here about the situation because people asked him, and I'll read in a moment. But all I can say is this: I'm sorry this happened to him, but if he falls for her shit one more time, goes to couples therapy, then it's the first time, shame on them. Second time, shame on you. Then he deserves what he fucking gets. Now, here's a few more comments. He was replying to people's questions and all. He said, before she first cheated, we were talking about trying for our first child. But after she confessed, I just wasn't confident in our marriage and didn't want to bring a child into it because I honestly thought the odds were low that things would eventually work out. Then why'd you give it a second chance? Initially, his gut was saying divorce her. And even after that, he's like, maybe this isn't going to work. There you go. Again, your gut knew. Now my confidence in this working is even lower, but she tells me she feels like me taking back my forgiveness and also having her sign a postnup that I never believed in the marriage, and it wasted her time and chances of being a mother, and that I was somehow always looking out for any way out. Oh, now she's blaming you, that you ruined her chance of being a mother. She's the one that had the affair. But she wouldn't be pulling this bullshit. But you see, let me backtrack here. By him giving her a second chance, that made her think, oh, I can pull more bullshit. I can twist things around and say, he's the bad guy because we never had a kid because he never fully gave the second chance a second chance. See what I mean? I obviously don't think that is true, and I also think she's being a bit overdramatic about her chances of motherhood with someone else because my mother had my sister as 37 years old. I generally don't think she'd cheated on me since, but it just feels like all the trust I rebuilt with her had been rebuilt on half-truth, and it's making me doubt everything again. Then cut the shit, dude. Stop typing up here on Reddit and go to your fucking lawyer and end this goddamn thing. He also says, I still had a lot of trust in her at first because she'd voluntarily confessed. Because she probably knew she was going to get caught. My thought process was then that, okay, so you at least have a conscience to tell me after, but you clearly are able to do some kind of mental gymnastics to excuse yourself at the moment, so how do I trust this woman it won't happen again? And I guess this is what made her decide to quit her job to try to prove this part to me. But now that I know the truth, to me, was actually quite far from the actual truth. I feel I can't trust anything she says now, so how do I rebuild trust when there isn't a shared amount of trust, a shred of trust left to rebuild from the situation? Because there's not. It's over. Throw in the towel. It's over. You're still young, my friend. And last one. I appreciate your perspective, but I should clarify Bill's wife didn't find out 2 years ago. She caught Bill in a separate affair recently, and this was what prompted her to go through all his devices. And she also found out that Bill's affair recently. I'm actually booked to get an STD test this week because it turns out that Bill was also seeing prostitutes as well. Oh my God. Well, can one argue, in a sense, that, all these gals that were willingly cheating on their husbands and willingly cheating with a married man, in essence, are kind of that way. I mean, he wasn't paying them, but you get the point. And one more. As for Ella's motivation, Bill is actually in his early 40s. So yeah, in therapy she said it was out of having low self-esteem and stress at work and Bill being very flirtatious with her. Oh, blame it on stress at work and blame it on him for flirting with her. Guess what? She's a grown-ass adult and made the choice to carry on. And if she was uncomfortable with this floating at work, last time I checked, she could have went to HR and made a complaint. No, there was no HR complaint. She went and was hooking up with him for 5 months. From what Alice has told me, Bill was the pursuer in both affairs. Not that this makes it any better in my eyes, because I don't really want a partner who will forget about her vows and risk everything we've built just because someone else pays them compliments. Amen. So, bro, if you stay with her after this shit, you deserve whatever you get. She's an asshole on multiple fronts, but you're the bigger asshole if you stay with her. You shouldn't give her a second chance. I get you. We're blindsided. I get you. Listen to all her crybaby tears, and she quit her job and confessed to you and all that, but there's a thing called trickle truth. Yeah, she knew you'd probably leave her. She gave you the full truth. And now she actually has the nerve to give you a hard time saying that, well, you never gave her a second chance of very serious. And you robbed me of being a mother. It's like, you fucking kidding me, lady? But again, where does this come from? The fact that he gave her a second chance. And she's like, whoa, I can pull more bullshit. Because when women cheat, or anybody cheats for that matter, man or woman, and the person takes them back, in the back of their mind, is thinking, well, if I pull this again, they'll probably give me a second chance if I cry enough or beg enough or promise enough. So there you go. So cut her loose, move on, lick your wounds, learn your lesson, and ultimately you're going to be okay.